Whenever two people are in a negotiation, the power always rests with the person who needs the other person least. Imagine a business deal being negotiated. Now, one of the people desperately needs the deal to be struck, whereas the other person has plenty of options. It doesn't really matter to him whether this particular deal goes through. Obviously, in that situation, the party who has heaps and heaps of options has got the power. If a deal is going to be struck, it's going to be heavily slanted towards them. It's going to be in their favor. It doesn't feel good to be that party who is really desperate to make the deal. The lack of control that you have in that situation makes you feel diminished, like you're some loser who just has to accept whatever they're offered because you have no bargaining power. Sadly, this is how a lot of men feel when they're in the dating market. When they're sitting across from a woman on a date, they don't feel like they have much bargaining power. There's this guy who's been swiping on Tinder for 3 months and he's only got a handful of matches and he's on a date with a girl, but he had to work really hard to get her on this date. And if this doesn't work, well, who knows how long it's going to be before he has another chance. She, on the other hand, gets hundreds of Tinder matches every single week. If she wanted to, she could go on 5 dates every single day of the week and still have options left over because there's just hordes of thirsty men who are all desperate for her attention. Now, it's not as if all of those men want a relationship with the woman. They just want to have sex mostly, and the woman is aware of that. They know that guys are giving them attention because they want to sleep with them, and that knowledge gives them power. Even before the date begins, he wants to sleep with her because he's a man, but that power imbalance is not good. This is not a good dynamic to start things off when you as a man obviously want something from her because of your physical desires, but she doesn't really need anything from you because of her abundant options. But you don't want to start relationship negotiations being completely powerless. So what do? How do you regain control of the situation? There is a way to get the power back, or at the very least, neutralize the power that she has over you. And that's what we're going to explore in this video. To begin with, let me make it absolutely clear from a woman's perspective, if she is attractive, then she knows that you want to sleep with her. She knows. All women know. They're not stupid. She's been on the planet for however many years. She's had thousands of interactions with men. If she's an attractive woman, she knows as a fact that you as a man want to sleep with her. Why wouldn't you? As an attractive woman, if you didn't want to sleep with her, that would be weird. So don't deny it. Don't pretend like you haven't noticed that she's an attractive woman. That just comes across as weird and inauthentic or even creepy. The nice guy strategy does not work. Don't say, oh, I hadn't noticed that you're attractive, or, I don't think of you in that way. No, I'm not interested in sleeping with you. I just want to be your friend. I'm interested in your personality. I'm not like those other guys. What happens, of course, inevitably, is that after 6 months of orbiting her and pretending to be interested in her friendship, he confesses his true feelings to her. And then he has the audacity to be upset with her when she rejects his sexual advances. She was clear from the outset that she doesn't think of him that way. He was the one being dishonest. On a practical level, it's not going to work. Ditch the nice guy routine. Women are going to see right through it. Women are highly intuitive and they are particularly sensitive to picking up on the sexual motivations of men. Evolution positively selected for this trait because having a keen awareness about sexual motives of men was essential for a woman's survival. Women who could not discern a man's true intentions would often find themselves in dangerous situations. And so what happens over many generations is that evolution positively selected for those women who have a healthy level of suspicion with regards to men. To put it in clear layman's terms, when it comes to figuring out whether or not a man is interested in her sexually, women have a really good bullshit meter. 99% of the time, she'll be better at sniffing out a fraud than you will be at acting. So don't pretend that she's not hot and that you're not interested in sleeping with her. That inauthenticity just comes across as creepy. So then what do? What is the solution? Do you just start staring at her tits and listing all of the things that you want to do to her sexually because that's technically more authentic? Obviously not. There is a middle ground here, and if you do it right, it's going to strip away the power that she thinks she has over you. Now, to do this right, you need to understand the difference between having a desire and being desperate to act upon a desire. We all have biological needs. That is outside of our control. It is hardwired into our body. You need food, you need water, you need warmth and shelter. You don't need to feel ashamed over any of those things. They're just necessary for your survival. Likewise, the instinct to reproduce is hardwired into your biology. You don't have a choice over that. And so there's no need to feel ashamed about it. Now, an attractive woman may think that she has some kind of trump card. She can say to you, "You find me attractive, don't you?" Or, "I bet you want to sleep with me." And that by exposing this secret, you're going to feel really embarrassed and vulnerable. But why would you? It is completely normal that you would have a desire to sleep with her. That is indicative of a healthy human biology. This isn't some secret weakness that she has uncovered. Newsflash, men like attractive women. Men think about sex a lot. This isn't revelatory. It isn't weird that you want to sleep with her. It's weird that she brings it up. If you're in a club and you're hitting on a girl, you're flirting with her, and she says something like, "Do you want to kiss me?" Be cautious. Oftentimes it's a shit test. She wants to know how you'll react, because a low value male will just say, "Yes, please, thank you," and just jump right in. Or he might overreact the other way and say, "What? No, kiss you? No, I don't, I'm not interested in that. No, what are you talking about? No, I didn't even think about that." Either way, you failed the shit test and you've completely lost your chance. If a woman ever tests you like this, simply look her in the eye and say, "You're weird." Smile and then turn away, go and talk to somebody else for a few minutes. Now, this brings us back to what I was talking about before, the difference between having a desire and being desperate to act upon a desire. A high quality man acknowledges the truth of his biology and he's at peace with that, but at the same time, he's not so desperate that he is a slave to his body's desires. Just because sugars and fats taste good and our bodies crave it, doesn't mean that we just gorge ourselves until we become obese. A high quality man has standards about what he puts into his body. Likewise, you might find a woman sexually attractive and acknowledge that on a biological level, your body wants to sleep with her, but you have standards. In order to sleep with you, a woman needs to appeal to more than just your body. She needs to appeal to your mind, to your heart, to your sense of ethics. An attractive body is not enough. She needs more. And with these standards, you completely remove the power that she has over you. You have desires, yes, but you're not in any way desperate to act on those desires. Now, of course, you wouldn't say this explicitly, but essentially, what you're communicating when you first meet a woman or first start dating her is that, yes, obviously, she's attractive, and as a regular red-blooded male, you have a sexual attraction to her and your body wants to sleep with her. But as a high-quality man, you need much more. You need evidence of good character, good personality, someone intelligent, creative. You need her to be a high quality woman. If the only thing about her that is appealing is her body, she only appeals to your carnal desires, then she's not worth it. So you see, just because you have a desire to sleep with her, that doesn't mean that she has a power over you unless you're really desperate to act on that desire. Simply having the desire doesn't actually mean anything. You can take away her power by simply acknowledging the biological reality of the situation, but in the same breath dismissing it as essentially unimportant. Back when I was a younger guy and I was doing like the pickup artist stuff with my buddies, one of the lines that we had read online and that we would sometimes use would be to say to a girl, like, "Okay, so obviously you're beautiful, you're really attractive, but I want to know, is there more to you? Like, tell me about your personality." With the benefit of hindsight, it does seem a little bit cheesy, but at the time, it was often effective. It instantly drained her of all of the power because there she was thinking that her beauty, her attractiveness was going to be the dominant theme in that interaction. By dismissing it, you kill that instantly and you put yourself in the driver's seat. You create a frame where she now needs to prove herself to you. Now, this isn't being mean. Women want this. Trust me, women are absolutely sick of low-value males fumbling around, because they're intimidated by a woman's beauty. They are looking for a man who is unaffected by her attractiveness, a man who demands more from her. This is what appeals to her hypergamy, a high-quality man who has standards, that he expects of her that she needs to meet in order to be worthy of him. That's the kind of man that she finds attractive. So don't bother pretending that you don't find hot women attractive and that you don't want to sleep with them. Nobody's buying it. You just come across as weird. Acknowledge it and then move on to the more important stuff. Take away her power and create a new frame where your biological desires are not a disadvantage. This will allow you to negotiate for a relationship on much more equal terms. How do you meet women when traveling overseas? How do you make high-quality male friends? And is evolutionary psychology a complete science that can fully explain female behavior? All of these topics and many more are covered in exclusive videos available on my Patreon page. This includes the topic of my latest video. Can you go from being friends with a woman to being in a relationship? What are the odds, and is it a good idea? In this video, I talk about the degree to which the friend zone is a legitimate concern and when it moves into a stage of just being paranoid. I talk about those unique circumstances where it is a good idea to be friends with a woman first, as well as giving practical advice about how to transition from a relationship as friends to a romantic relationship. I also go into explicit detail about those circumstances when it will never work and when you should never try being friends with a woman. If you're curious about when it's appropriate to be friends with a woman and whether that transition is possible, I highly recommend you check out this video. For every video that I post here on YouTube, I post an additional bonus video on my Patreon page. That means that at the moment, you're only seeing half of the total content that I create. If you would like access to the other half, then please go and sign up at my Patreon. It's just a $5 a month subscription. You get instant access to a whole bunch of exclusive content, and it's a wonderful way to support the channel. I'd love to see you over there.